Yes, good morning. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thursday, December 10th. That's where it is. I don't know. What day are we on this quarantine COVID-19 experience? It's like, man, it's crazy, right? It's been 9 months in, so this is enough time to have a pregnancy and a baby. Man, it's just like a lot going on out here. They're shutting stuff down, back down again. And, I guess they're saying that because folks went out and visited their families during Thanksgiving, now we're beginning to see a severe increase in cases. It's a little scary, is what I'm saying. But, we hope that you and your family are safe. How y'all doing? And check in with us. Let us know, how you doing in this crazy time. Holding up? It's severe out there. We all have friends and family that have, called to the maker, because of COVID. And, it's serious. It's serious out here. Wear your mask, wash your hands, do all that stuff they're talking about out here. Because we don't know. Did you get the little notice on your phone this morning? Like you could track your COVID, your exposures on your phone. It's like this morning, turn my phone on and bam, they're like, hey, hit this button and you can see where it's a tracer. So basically, if you come within, proximity of someone who's been infected by the COVID, your phone is going to let you know. And it's crazy, man. We just hope that you okay. Me, I pray. So that's what's keeping me right. I got the blood over my doorstep, just like the word says. I don't care what y'all think about it. That's how I'm getting down. And I think I'm okay in that belief. You all right? All right. We've got a lot of things to talk about today. The sisters are on the move. Sisters are on the move in so many different ways. And we're going to talk about one particular point of advocacy out here in California. That we originate from Long Beach, California to the world. And we really like broadcasting to the world. We like being global. But we also like our little spot here in the LBC, baby. That's where we are at. Okay, let's get to these headlines so we can get into our discussion today. U.S. government advisory panel convened on Thursday to decide whether to endorse mass use of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine to help conquer the outbreak that has killed close to 300,000 Americans. The meeting of outside advisors to the Food and Drug Administration represented the next to last hurdle before the expected start of the biggest vaccination campaign in U.S. history. Depending on how fast the FDA signs off on the panel's recommendations, shots could begin within days. Meanwhile, in the FBI, an assistant FBI director retired after he was accused of drunkenly groping a female subordinate in a stairwell. Another senior FBI official left after he was found to have sexually harassed 8 employees. Yet another high-ranking FBI agent retired after he was accused of blackmailing a young employee into sexual encounters. An Associated Press investigation has identified at least 6 sexual misconduct allegations involving senior FBI officials over the past 5 years, including 2 new claims brought this week by women who say they were sexually assaulted by ranking agents. A congressional investigation is raising new questions about the safety of some popular children's car booster seats. The probe began after a ProPublica and CBS This Morning report in February showed how some booster seats got a passing grade despite disturbing video of crash test dummies being violently tossed around during safety testing. New videos obtained by CBS This Morning showed child-sized dummies flailing violently in a car booster seats during side impact crash tests. In each case, the booster seats passed the test, But why? Because there's no federal standards for such side impact crash tests. The companies decide what qualifies as passing. So keep an eye on those booster seats, y'all. This is important news. This past weekend, Martin Jenkins, this is according to the California Black Media Network. This past weekend, Martin Jenkins, who is California's first and only African-American Supreme Court justice, he swore in former California State Senator Holly Mitchell to the Los Angeles Board of Supervisors. Congratulations, Holly. For the first time in history, the 5-member leadership team that Mitchell is joining, which represents 9 cities in California's most populous county, is composed of all women. Mitchell will serve as chair pro tem of the current board, which Los Angeles County political insiders have now dubbed the Fab Five. Marcus Garvey III, the oldest child and namesake of Jamaica's national hero and iconic leader Marcus Garvey Jr., has died in South Florida. He was 90 years old. He was an electrical engineer, a mathematician, and physicist, according to the Jamaica Gleaner. He died in his Wellington, Florida home on Tuesday after a battle with Alzheimer's disease. He was born in St. Andrew, Jamaica, and Garvey is said to have been much like his father. He became President General of the United Negro Improvement Association, which his father founded in 1914, and he lectured extensively across the Caribbean, North America, Europe, and Africa. According to his widow, Jean Garvey, her husband left indelible footprints. Their statement reads, "The departure of Marcus Jr., of whom I have been married for over 30 years, will leave a void that cannot be filled, and he will be greatly missed by numerous family, friends, and colleagues from all over the world in many places where he had left indelible footprints." And in addition to Jean, Garvey is survived by sons Colin and Kyle Sekou, stepdaughter Michelle Morris, his younger brother, Dr. Julius Garvey, who has been unsuccessfully seeking to have their father pardoned posthumously. 4 grandchildren also survive. Meanwhile, here in Long Beach, this is a developing story. So apparently, and I don't have all of the touch points, but I'm going to give you the headlines. So Tuesday night's council meeting, in Long Beach, California, the council meetings are a big deal. They watch it on TV. Everybody stops and watches these proceedings. And in this new COVID environment, things are virtual. So they have the WebEx meetings and all that, so that you can listen to the proceedings that are going down for each week's council meetings. And apparently they were having a discussion about the city's COVID-19 response. 2 of the city council persons, Stacey Mungo and Susie Price, who are white, began to question the head of the Long Beach Health Department, Dr. Anissa Davis, who is a sister, Black. And the questions became very culturally insensitive, we'll call it that. And it's very interesting that even down to asking Dr. Davis what her qualifications were for her to even be the health officer for the city of Long Beach is like really crazy. So, a lot of people in Long Beach, took a deep offense to this line of questioning and how Dr. Davis was being spoken to. So here's a letter. They're saying, in a year that has seen immense civil uprisings due to the experience of Black Americans and the city moving forward with the historic framework for reconciliation, this was a clear example of the racism that still pervades our city and society as large. As much as Dr. Davis' position in and contributions to the city of Long Beach are a testament to how far Black Americans have come, Tuesday night's interaction, in stark contrast, is a reminder of just how far we have to go. And it says, through it all, I have learned that there are good silences, bad silences, and unforgivable silences. And in this moment, we refuse to be silent. And this is signed by a whole lot of sisters from around the city. And so more on that story, because they've been calling me and texting me. We want to hear more. Speaking of letters, speaking of sisters rising up. So we're so happy. We're so happy we got Joe Biden and Kamala Harris elected. We're so super proud of Kamala Harris. In California, we're even the more proud because she's coming from the West Coast. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So now, as Kamala Harris elevates to vice president, the governor of California has to appoint someone to, replace her in her seat, which is now vacant in the United States Senate. So for the last couple of weeks, there's been a movement percolating where they're saying, hey, Governor Newsome, appoint a Black woman. Because what Kamala Harris's elevation essentially does is leaves the seat vacant. And so we're saying then leaves the seat vacant, but no Black person at all in the United States Senate. So there's a letter. I think I put it in the chat there. There is a letter. You guys can read that on Beach City Radio, beachcityradio.com. And of course, Greg J, I got experts coming here to talk to me. And let's kind of chit chat about the situation at hand and see what it is. So first off, let me just get my mouse over here. I've known this woman a long time, very long time. And man, just so many things, so much can be said. I'm just going to say her name and she can tell you about herself. And she's the one who pulled this whole thing together, really. I mean, I actually called her after I got some of the letters from the California Black Media Network. And she's the author of this letter. And Marie Lemelle, one of the smartest people I know, she's an MBA. She's a business owner. She is a super advocate for entertainment and media arts. Marie, good morning.
Good morning, Greg. Don't date us. Don't date how many years we've known each other.
I think I still have a picture of the day we met at the Jazz and Drew that time.
Oh my God, that's one for the archives for sure.
Yes, that's for sure. All right. Look, I have another friend of mine joining us. Man, I've known this one a long time, and we have so many projects that we've done together. And I saw her name on this as one of the women supporting this cause. And I called her up to say, hey, you need to be on this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, tell us, Fowler. Good morning.
Greetings. Good morning. Oh, let me back up a little bit. Okay.
Good morning, Dallas.
All right. Look, I got a new friend right here coming all the way from San Jose, California. She's a warrior. She said she's a social justice warrior is what I saw. So she's out there fighting the good fight. She's gonna win this one and say, okay, what's next? Who's next? She's doing her thing, ladies and gentlemen. Shay Franco-Clausen. Good morning.
Good morning, Shay.
Good morning and grand rising.
Grand rising. All right. And then last but not least, bringing the ecumenical perspective, our good friend, Pastor William Smart. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone?
Everybody good. All right. Listen, I want to okay. Hold on. Okay, so I want to start with you, Shay, because I know everyone on this panel. I've just met you just this morning, but I've read a lot about you over the last 12 hours or so. Tell us a little bit about you, who you are, and who is Sister Shay Franco? Shay from the Bay. That's what I saw.
That is my tagline, Shay from the Bay. But I will say that I did live in the LBC for 5 years and went to school there, so I'm all about Long Beach. So I am an elected official here. Actually, Dallas is a merged sister, and I was very excited to join this campaign. We had heard that there was women across the state organizing for this, and my experience here is running political campaigns. Like I just ran Prop 17 campaign that was successful, and many other controversial campaigns that has really sparked my desire to really move to make systemic change by changing the leadership. And so, I'm out here. I'm elected to the Open Space Authority. I serve on the CDP Black Caucus on the executive board and a delegate and director of gender and equity here in my county. I'm just about progress by giving people the tools and support they need to lead their own communities, especially Black people.
So what is the open space? What did you call it? Open space?
Open Space Authority. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's a county government system that protects all the land, agriculture, wildlife, water here. We're a valley of the Heart's Delight, so we have a lot of agriculture, and it's important that we preserve it and protect it.
I see. I see. All right. So here we go. So now we know that Kamala Harris is now going to going to Washington D.C. Well, we're shifting offices in Washington D.C. I guess we better say, right? And so, so what's the deal? We're demanding Governor Newsome that he replace her with a Black woman. Talk about that for a minute.
Well, I mean, I think it's very important we talk about representation. And here we are celebrating the success of a Black woman being elevated, being the first vice president, being the first Black woman. And then we look at her seat and we're willing to hand that off to someone else. Well, the voters voted for Kamala to be in that seat. And her 2 years that are left, it just makes sense that we also put a Black woman in that seat. We are, nationally 14.3% of the population. If we remove Kamala, I mean, that leaves us with less than 1% representation in the U.S. Senate. So it's not like we're asking to do any favors. This was a seat that we fought for. She was elected for, and it's very important that we have someone that represents our community, the values of the Black community, and it's just having a Black woman there is very important.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right. So listen, Marie, I'm going to bring you in right here. You have got, okay. So Marie Lemelle, you wrote this letter and it's been widely circulated around the Black media, California Black Media Network. For those of you that don't know, beachcityradio.com. We are a member of the California Black Media. That's our trade organization. And it's all the Black newspapers and news media servicing at the African-American community across the state. And so we found that letter, and I was pleasantly surprised and pleased that you were the author of that letter. What's caused you to step up and express the thoughts of the organization?
Well, let me first say thanks to Regina Wilson, who sent the letter out. And also, I was just being one of the warriors. There were already women that have put this in place. I just decided to help out by creating the op-ed piece. But this is a team effort. And Kelly Todd was definitely our guiding force, as well as the national groups of Black women, and of course, Northern California, that have really put this movement, Keep the Seat, in motion. I just helped put, pen to paper and express, my own views, but also, using the views of all the other women that have been a part of this for the last several months.
All right. So everybody, you can certainly read that letter right there at beachcityradio.com. The link is in the chat. And I'm going to bring in Dallas Fowler. I know, first of all, I'm not even going to ask you why. I just know that this seems like your next point of advocacy, because Dallas Fowler, look, she is in the mix on everything. I'm just voting for her for president next time. Dallas, talk about this. Wait a minute. You unmute yourself. I can't unmute you here.
Oh,
okay, there you go.
Now that would be something. I just want to say first, good morning to everyone, and it is always an honor to be here and great to see you, Greg, but also you as well, Pastor Smart, and my sisters, Marie and Shay. Shay is my Emerge sister. Marie is my Law Pi sister. And so the Los Angeles African American Women Public Policy Institute, which has been around over 10 years now. I don't even know how old it is now, but since I think the first class was 2003, it's a 10-week institute housed at USC to promote Black women into policy positions. So yes, we are very much connected to this work, and we are having this discussion all over, not just here in California. We have been asking Black women all over the country to have this dialogue and to send a note to our governor, Gavin Newsome, so that he understands just how important this appointment is. One Black woman in the Senate was not enough, right? And 0 is absolutely unacceptable. So I look forward to the dialogue.
All right, let's go see Pastor Smart. What you say about it, brother? I'm always glad to see you. Last time you were on here, man, you blew up the whole coffee conversations with we were talking about I don't know, what were we talking about last time? I think we were just coming right out of the George Floyd incident last time we were here. And it was also the day that Zinzi Mandela, the daughter of Nelson Mandela, had passed away. So we opened up the show with a video of her reading a letter of her father from jail. And man, I still get, mentions from all over the globe about Pastor Smart and everything, coffee conversations. And looks like you're on a bus, man.
Well, this is a donated shuttle bus that I have an office out here, and when it's fighting time, I come out here, and I don't care about the how it looks. It's fighting time for me. The question for me, and I pose it to everybody: what are we prepared to do if we do not get this seat back? What are we going to say to this governor? Because the rumors out that he has said that he doesn't want to disturb the Latino community because there's talk of a recall for him already, and he just doesn't want he doesn't want to alienate them as his support. So what does that say about African Americans? So I'm asking, what are we prepared to do if we lose this seat because it will be taken from us? Already, Trump supporters are saying the election is taken from them. They lying, it wasn't. But if we lose this seat, if African American women don't get in that seat, it was been robbed from us. So what are we prepared to do?
All right, that's what's up. I can feel that. We'll feel that 100%. So walk us through what has happened now. So you just mentioned something. So I read where now I know Senator Feinstein wanted to place Alex Padilla in that seat. Okay, how much weight does that have in the whole grand scheme of things? So anybody can take that question.
I just think, with all due respect to Senator Feinstein, if she wants Alex Padilla to have a seat in the Senate, she should support him for her seat. A Black woman was elected here in California. A progressive Black woman was elected to serve in this position. And there are currently 4 Latino males already serving in the Senate. There are Native Americans serving in the Senate. There are Asian Americans serving in the Senate. There would be, once Vice President-Elect Harris takes her oath of office, there would be no Black woman in the U.S. Senate. And with the work that Black women have done across this country, and even in this state being named after a Black queen, we know that we have been instrumental in the history of this country and instrumental in the development of the Democratic Party and instrumental in the election of our current governor, enough to say that we should have the representation. So I don't know if that's the message that the governor wants to send to Black women across this country who vote in the 90th percentile overwhelmingly for Democratic candidates in this country, when the numbers just quite aren't there. When you look at white women, when you look at Latinas, when you look at Latino males, they are not there in the vote. The loyalty has not been there. Now, love them. Absolutely believe that we should have Latino representation in the state. And I think we see that in some of our statewide offices. And I think we should. However, the seat.
Oh, we lost her there. Yeah, she'll be back. She'll be back. Well, to her point, I mean, Senator Representative Jim Clyburn out of South Carolina made a statement yesterday that he really wants the governor to go ahead and appoint a Black woman to this seat. He's supportive of the effort, and that speaks volumes for him, a senior statesman in Washington, D.C. Shay, what do you think about that? And I'm going to put that article in the chat too right now.
I mean, I really think that it's very important. To Dallas's point, is a Black woman won this seat. She has 2 remaining years in her seat. And what we're saying to Gavin is this does absolutely make sense. And out of respect for Dianne Feinstein too, if she wants him to have the seat, then she can give it to him. But as Black women continuously show up for the Democratic Party, we're also one of the highest population of voters. And I think that Gavin should remember that as he moves on to his next positions in seat. To Pastor William Smart's point, is we do have to send a message. They always rely on us to defend and protect democracy. When it comes to having seats, it's always up for discussion. I think we send that message now, as you see that so many of us came together as we were working in silos for the same goals, to unite, to build this unity across the United States, to say not only are we fighting for this position, but we're saying we're also keeping the receipts. And we all, and Black people have a long memory. And this moment in time is where we say, we remember exactly how he felt about Black women in his appointment. So Dallas, go ahead and finish. I'm so sorry. I just stepped in where you stepped out.
Dallas, you want to finish your thought there?
No, that was it.
Is it? Okay, very good, very good. Listen, let me ask you all a really simplistic question. Generally speaking, did Black women save the democracy? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, for sure, without question. And talk a little bit. I just said, did Black women save the democracy?
Yes.
Did you hear us, Dallas?
Emphatically, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Got it. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Pastor.
I said they're not only they're saving the democracy, because one of the things about Black women is they're not only their level of voting and understanding, but they are most of the time on the right side of the issues that impact African Americans. And so therefore they know it, they're out there, they're participating, and yes, they're saving the democracy, and and I'm excited about the domino effect, the positive domino effect of what's happening with Black women. Right here, we have a woman who has been elevated to the supervisor level, and a Black woman should replace her, and if she's replaced by a Black woman, on down. And they're organized. They already have lined up. Right. In Washington, Black women are organized as they're getting these cabinet positions, and this is all by design. Black women are organizing all over the country. But so we cannot let this go down. With everything else that is happening around the country, we cannot lose this seat. We cannot be the ones that not participating in the rise of Black women. We can't lose a seat because we got a vice president. We can't lose a seat because one of our sisters worked hard to gain the seat, and then Padilla comes around and just walks in it. There needs to be ramifications to this governor. But see what's going to happen, Brother G, and not by these sisters here, but what's going to happen is if we don't get this seat, it'll be back to normal with Gavin, and everybody will be lapping up to him again like nothing has happened. No, there needs to be some serious repercussion electorally if we lose this seat, if it's taken from us.
So what's been the response from the governor? Anything yet? Like, what's the vibe? Is he receptive, or is he like, no, I'm just going to go ahead and follow Feinstein's recommendation, or what's the vibe?
When she got on the ticket, when Kamala got on the ticket, we began to hear right then. I'm sure these are some of the most astute political sisters in our state, they heard it too, that Padilla was going to be his choice. They're friends. They're friends. They're close. We heard that. I'm sure the others heard it too.
What do you think, Shay? What's your sense? Is the governor, what's his deal? Is he on it or?
I mean, we've been sort of kept in the dark as we've requested several meetings with him. We've heard that he's not meeting with people, but we know these meetings are happening. We have now brought together all these national Black women organizations, that 94% that Dallas mentioned earlier, to say we need to have a conversation about appointing a Black woman to this seat. Now, I respect the governor, and I just feel like in these times, it just makes sense that he would have appointed someone. I'm not sure of his thinking, and I don't know why this was even a question. As we mentioned, I just don't understand why it's a question. But I think the important thing that we should say is that these conversations need to happen with him on a continuous and hold him accountable for making sure that Black women have a seat, not just in this table, but across the nation.
You bring up an interesting point, because that's what I was asking. Why is this even news? I mean, why are we having this discussion right now? This should be a no-brainer. It seems like to me, just a regular guy out here on these here streets, a voter, I just feel like that would have been a no-brainer for him. But maybe, we have this sense of sometimes, political divisiveness between people of color. I'm just going to call it like I see it. And I think that maybe, is it that we want to advance the Latino cause a lot more because, they're actively capturing, political landscape? But somebody, I think it was Dallas, that said, or maybe that was you, Shay, that said how many folks that we have already, how many Latinos are already in the Senate, how many Native Americans thus and so. So, why not appoint a Black person to replace Kamala Harris? It's like, why are we even talking about this?
Well, you have a very interesting point that I wanted to just follow up on, is that when Black people historically throughout our history have stood up from civil rights to any movement, we are always fighting for everyone. It is not we're not a group of people that are specifically fighting for one group of people. We are fighting for the rights and the advancement of all people. And as someone who is Afro-Latina myself, I still am very strong in supporting a Black woman, period. It is in the message, as everyone sends these thank yous during the elections, all I'm getting is thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm like, you know how you can thank me? With a vote and a letter to the governor right now saying we need to appoint this seat to a Black woman. It is those times where we cash in those receipts saying, hey, remember when you said? This is those times that we do it because we do represent the majority in all of our work historically. This is not any different. Whoever gets appointed to the seat, if it's Karen Bass or if it's Barbara Lee, they will represent the overall community, and they're bridge builders. I just don't think, like I said before, why are we even having this conversation?
Yeah, I think we're having the conversation. You're right, Sister Shay and Brother Greg, and also what Dallas said. We're having this conversation because of the Latino pressure and this whole assumption that they should, because of the numbers, it's their time for a U.S. Senate seat in California. But as we have said, this is a seat that was won in an election by an African-American woman, and therefore it must continue. Why change the rules? They do this all around the country. If a white person gets elevated to an office, there's always a white person that takes the seat. Look what happened in Chicago when Barack Obama got elected. There was the governor did some wheeling and dealing and got in trouble, but he initiated and replaced him with an African American borough. I forgot his name, but he did that. And then let the general election fight it out. But right now, I don't like when people want to change the rules to justify their own ascension to power, as some people are doing here. Let the seat stay Black, y'all.
All right. So Dallas, man, this is a profound conversation we're having right here. And what if he doesn't do it? Then what? Because I'm just starting to, I get the sense for me, I look at the whole net right now, and I don't think white folks are paying much attention to us right now. What if he says, okay, screw y'all, we're going to do what we want to do. We put Padilla, whoever, in that office. Then what?
I think, like I said, we have a very long memory, and I see that Black women are coming together.
Mm-hmm. Dallas, are you there?
Is somebody? Oh. Okay, so yeah, well, first, let's just say this. This should not become a Black versus brown issue. One, we
Agreed.
are one. Let's be clear, Latinos, Latin people of Latin descent voted for Kamala Harris overwhelmingly. They also helped to elect our senator and now VP elect. Okay. So I don't want to miss that. She was elected very much based on her accomplishments. And when we look at the candidates who are there, the candidates of interest, let us also continue the appointment process based on that merit and that level of service. And when we talk about a Karen Bass, when we talk about a Barbara Lee, these are women who have served, who are currently already serving at the federal level. And when we talk about Karen Bass specifically, she was Speaker of the California Assembly. There are some accomplishments with the Black women that are presented who have been pushed and elevated for consideration, right? And that's not to take away from the accomplishments of an Alex Padilla, but they simply are not in comparison and are not to be compared. And I think we have to make sure that this doesn't remain a Black and brown issue. But to answer your question, Greg, what happens to a Gavin Newsom? I think this is a stain. This is a long-term stain that would be on his record. No matter how many Black women he supported in the past, thank you for that. You were doing your job. But this would be a long-term, nationwide stain that he would have to carry. And if you ever want to run for national office, higher office, I think it's one of those things like Anita Hill. We never let Joe Biden forget about Anita Hill. We will never let Gavin Newsom live this moment in history down. We had an opportunity for representation. The most qualified individuals were presented to you. They did happen to be Black women. So there was a prime opportunity for you to maintain and say to us, you do and should maintain representation in the highest legislature. And does he get recalled? I don't know. There's a recall out there. I think a number of people will be tempted to fill those signatures out and maybe circulate when they weren't even tempted to do so. I don't know if there's just this all-out rebellion, quite frankly. And I don't know if it's the same even if he appoints a Black woman. You appoint a Karen Bass or a Barbara Lee in this state, you are not going to be recalled as governor. That's a fact. I think the biggest issue we have right now is policy-wise, replacing a Kamala Harris who supported Medicare for all, who does not support the death penalty. There are some very critical policy issues to which Kamala takes a very, very different note from than a Dianne Feinstein and you will find that a Barbara Lee, Karen Bass are many times along that same vein, leaning a little more progressive. And I think with the policy issues at hand with COVID-19, it has shown us that progressive policies are have become the hot topic of the day. The need, the want is there right now, and the people have said it overwhelmingly in the state. So to appoint and replace a Kamala Harris who supports these things with a candidate who does not, I think you'll see some challengers in 22 or whenever that term is up. I think you'll see a number of challengers, and I don't know that that appointment will stick, quite frankly.
All right, let's go to Marie. Marie, okay, so look, you're saying we're saying Barbara Lee or Karen Bass. Quite frankly, panel, I'm gonna need Karen Bass to stick in her other seat because she's an advocate for Africa, and I need her to be right in there for what I'm trying to do over here. But she is definitely an effective politician and everything. And so, what other choices, Marie, do we have? Do we have, why Barbara Lee and why Karen Bass?
Well, both of those women have shown the world, the nation, that they're highly qualified. They have led California in a way that we need that representation. They're ready to go. They already have the relationships in Congress, and they know our issues. It's not just our issues, but they know the issues of vulnerable communities. And it's very important that we have someone that can hit the ground running, and not have to navigate their way through. We trust these two women. We know that they have our backs and our interests at heart, and we voted them in as well. I mean, 60 years ago, Rosa Parks didn't give up her seat. And here we are saying we're not giving up this seat. We have a plan. We are going to go to his offices and Gavin's office and say, here we are. Whether COVID or not, we're not going to let that distract us. You need to see that we are serious. We voted her in. All the other, communities, we think that they deserve a chance as well, but earn that. The Black women in general, and Black people in general voted her in, and our voice should not be muted. And the empty seat should be filled by a person of color, especially a Black woman, because that's what we want and that's what we need. And we need that representation.
Dr. Gloria Willingham saying Blacks are underrepresented in the Senate. She's saying this is a historical fact. She understands that the governor is no doubt being pressured from all directions. We need to write letters in support of our position. So politics is politics, she's saying. I agree with that. Where should we write? How do we support? How do the people even listening to this as it begins to grow some legs around social media? How do we support this movement?
So we actually have a toolkit that we've been circulating along with those letters that we've been sending to so many media outlets that thanks to Marie for putting together. But also we're going to be tomorrow at 11 o'clock because the governor has his press conference every Friday at 12:30. We're going to show up in Sacramento on those steps. And we're in his LA office. Our Southern California leadership is going to show up there on those steps because we need to make sure while we're doing social media access, like campaigns, joining wonderful shows like yours, we need to show him that we're really not playing. We're going to show up on those steps in both places at the same time to really bring Black women to the Capitol and to his LA office to show our numbers, to show that we are united. And we're saying, along with so many other leaders, it's time that you just appoint a Black woman to serve the remaining 2 years of this seat. And we can send that information to you that you can give to your viewers. Does anyone else want to add anything to that?
Yeah, we SCL led sending out a letter of some 35 leaders. If we can all get together and have a big Zoom conference where all, in the next couple of days where we can really organize and say, okay, here's everyone that is doing something. Let's all focus on this now, or let's make a calling campaign or whatever, or more numbers for our petitions that are going out. We've got to show force right now to let him know, as you're saying, that we're out here and we want this seat. And I like the analogy you use about Rosa Parks. Actually, I'm going to use that this afternoon because Saturday was the 65th anniversary of Montgomery, the start of the Montgomery boycott, the time when she gave up her seat 65 years ago. So she wouldn't give up her seat. We shouldn't give up on this seat.
You know, that's really awesome because when I asked you about if you were sitting on the bus, I just knew you were going to tell me you were sitting on the bus, the bus from Rosa Parks, the one that we see every year in the King Parade. I just knew you were going to say that. That's why I tossed you that softball there. I didn't know that was your war room.
I'm reading this bus, the Rosa Parks bus.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna have it's on our property in the back where I do my work from. And I have other stuff. It's my man cave, but it's a liberation cave now.
Yes, brother.
Rosa Parks Liberation Cave. But we gotta come through.
All right. Yeah, very good. Very good.
Let me tell you, for history, that bus actually, I know what we see. That's a replica, of course. The actual bus is in outside of Detroit there at the Ford Museum.
Right.
And 4 years ago now, I went to a function there and I sat on that bus. I sat on her in her seat, and I was so struck that I had to leave the function before it really got started and went back to my hotel room. Something came over me I could not describe of sitting in the seat. See, when we see the picture, that's not the actual seat. The seat is on the other side of the bus. That's a replica of her when she first got back on the bus, and they took a picture, but it was on the other side. And it was an awesome, eerie feeling.
Wow. Yeah. The energy. All right. Look, maybe there's somebody out there who doesn't have all the facts. Let's get back to our situation. You all said that the governor he's the subject of a recall campaign. Talk about that. What is that like? Why they want to recall? Is it because of the mask and all that?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
There has been a recall effort for the governor since he took office. So this is just conservative Central California making this fight. And what happens in these situations, if we recall, our beloved friend Gray Davis had a few different things that he changed up when he became governor. I think one of them that really was kind of pesky but got to a lot of people was him not answering the phones, right? He had went to this voice automated system, and people they couldn't call the governor's office and get somebody on the phone. There were a couple of small things. My major thing.
We lost her again. Well,
I will say is that
in
what we're doing in this fight, I'm seeing a lot of those groups that want to recall him sharing our information. And I mean, interesting enough, even, be there on the conservative side, I've seen plenty of them starting to post, keep this seat. So they know the work that we're doing, and that communication is happening, as Dallas mentioned earlier. And I don't know all the reasons why he's being recalled, but I can tell you is that it hasn't stopped. You can see it on social media and different articles and media outlets, but I really can't speak to, would this heighten, that, and would people, join over to do that? I'm not sure. And no one wants to really take him down, but we do want to let him know, like, we're asking you very nicely, and we're saying it's very important to us for you to appoint a Black woman to the remaining two years. If he does not, I think that's a larger conversation we have as a Black community to take those next steps.
Melina Lawrence is checking in. She's saying our hashtag Keep the Seat campaign is also telling us that a black community to look at the bigger picture of staying on top of or tracking our deliverables and pressure to policymakers before and after inauguration. That's the one thing, because we kind of go on to the next thing after we vote them in. We don't really keep up, do we?
Yeah.
No,
we
we
have
got
to follow the vote. Follow the vote.
Wow. Now, our good friend
are going to be in constant battle for our freedom. Our freedoms and our liberties are in jeopardy every single day. And there is someone manning a battle station for you that you do not know about. You may not see them in the streets with a picket sign, but they are manning their battle station and standing in the gap for all of us. And we don't always see them. I'm sorry I keep getting cut off. That's another issue that's impacting Black folks. Broadband, the hood.
Man, don't get me started on that.
Yes.
That's a whole nother. That one is near and dear to my heart. And I just tell you, broadband is something, isn't it? We need a technology, especially now that we're having, schooling and all of that whole thing. We need technology available to the people, to the community. It's important. That's a whole other subject. We're gonna get on that one there, Dallas. Okay, so let me ask you though. Okay, so my good friend Jan Perry says, follow the money. So how do we follow the money as we watch and make our decisions about Governor Newsome?
So you can always, this is one area that as a campaign consultant and strategist is always follow the money, not just in these situations, but in everything, even in the COVID closure. Yeah. We always look at the reporting to see who's getting exceptions, who's getting, peripheral treatment. But you also is going to see who is donating to their campaigns, and who's always behind the dollars, because they rely on those people to stay in these seats. Big donors have this certain type of political power. We want to know who they are. It's on the California website, the state website. They have to report that information, and it's always telling a story. In all their actions and all their movements, you look at their donor base and see how that's actually connected. And it's one thing that we have not been good at doing as activists, organizers, and Black people in general. But it's something that it's so easy to do. And there's companies and organizations that do break it down and tell you exactly, a vote for this person is a vote for, these businesses, or, so on and so on. And it's not always bad, but it is important to understand who's contributing to the success of these elected leaders, because sometimes that's where their loyalty lies.
With the money, right? And so, wow, isn't that something? So how do we continue to, maybe I'm thinking out loud here. So it seems like they know that we are kind of complacent, if you will, after we've cast our vote and everything. How do we let them know that we are watching, that the people are watching, that we ain't forgetting nothing? You better be on your job, doggone it. How do we continue to let them know?
I think we're doing it right now. I think we are setting the stage, because we have now come into the realization of the power of the Black vote. We are consistent, we are dedicated, we are loyal, and we are now coming together across this state and across this nation, saying, hey, we need to stay focused, because we can chew gum, send an email, be on Zoom, take care of our kids, go to work, all those things at the same time. Because Dallas said earlier, our Black existence is a protest. We're always fighting for our rights and civil liberties. This is nothing new. So I think we're doing it right now as we're building an alliance of us. And we're saying, enough is enough.
Yeah, that's the way we continuously impact policy change, is to stay involved. We vote, we register, we vote, we take them to the polls, we vote, then we push public policy in our best interest. That's been one in the last couple of years has really augmented in our community, because we're constantly fighting for the disenfranchised, the vulnerable, and the marginalized. And we have to do it every day. People on this call, I look at them and I see their work every day. they're doing in some capacity. The struggle continues for us as Black folks. As long as we're on these shores, the struggle will continue. But victory is certain. And right now, our struggle is with this governor. And we have to affirm that victory is ours by how we do and the pressure we put on him. And right now, we just have to keep the pressure and doing the petitions and everything, calling the office, whatever we got to do. We got to put the pressure on him and let him know let him feel the same consequences he thinks there are with Latinos. There are going to be consequences with African Americans. Our elected officials need to step up. They're one of the ones that started the campaign for Lee or Bass, and so they need to step up. Some of them need to be talking to the governor and say there can be ramifications if you don't do this.
All right, wow, this is incredible stuff right here. That's what I know. I mean, yes, go right ahead. Who is that? Dallas? Yes.
I was going to say I do want to just finish my thought on
go ahead.
Gray Davis when he was recalled. I think we have that moment, we have that experience, we can advantage of, and while I don't foresee that, I do believe that happening here with this governor. I do believe it is going to become extremely imperative for not just Black women, Black men in the state to ensure that they are registered to vote, to ensure that they are coming out for every ballot, and that particularly we show up when it comes time for whenever the reelection is for Kamala's seat, no matter who gets appointed. We need to make sure that we show up, whether it is someone who we want to be in the seat, whether it is someone else that we want to support in the seat in 24. We have to make sure that we show up. Our registration numbers are going down in California. Black people are leaving California. We over 100,000 Black folks have left California since 2018. That makes a difference in our numbers and when we vote. However, we still vote in larger numbers by and large than most other communities in this state and in this country. So we know we make a difference, but it's really critical that we are coming together and ensuring that people have a future in California as well as representation.
Now, let me ask you this question. People are leaving, by the droves. It's kind of crazy expensive out here. But at the same time, how do we, what do we need to do to make sure that everybody registers? I mean, it always takes like a ginormous campaign to remind the brothers and sisters, look, you got to go and vote, got to register to vote. Even in this battle that we had here, it was just, we had to have a really loud voice to encourage the folks, to get out there and vote and we won, this time. And so how do we continue to inspire the hood to go out, register to vote, participate in the process?
I think it's just, if you moved, make sure you fill out another, your official movement papers with the post office. They help you to register. If you renew your driver's license or your ID, if you're getting a real ID, that will help you to register to vote as well. There are many ways. You can always, if you're in Los Angeles County here, you can always go to lavote.net, but you can also register to vote at the Secretary of State's website, sos.ca.gov. And I'm sure Rock the Vote site is probably, if you're watching nationally, it's probably still up and going. You can figure out how to register to vote in your state. But I think it's more than that. We're registered. A lot of us are still registered, but it's showing up. We're showing up. But now I know we've been at 90%, but now we've got to go 100% through the roof to fight and maintain these seats.
It's important because they got some trick for us, so we got to come 100%, like you said here. Melina is asking, can y'all touch on the domino effect of filling the Senate seat with a Black woman and keeping the congressional seats that they've maintained Black? So if we move Karen and Barbara, how do we replace them?
Now, let me just say this. That's a very poignant question, and I did think about that. Barbara's seat may be gone. I could see an Asian possibly filling that seat. There is a chance for somebody, maybe if like a Malia Cohen, who's been over the Board of Supervisors, who's a state equalization constitutional officer here. There's a chance if maybe she came and said, okay, I'll run for it. There's a chance she could possibly get that seat. But the demographics of Barbara Lee's district have greatly transitioned, and Shay can attest to that. But I can say here, as a diligent and faithful constituent of Karen Bass, that I'm very confident that a progressive Black woman or a progressive candidate can emerge and possibly still maintain Karen Bass's seat. But Barbara's is a little bit different. It's a little trickier.
Yes,
we also have to talk about here in California. We have my senator, Holly Mitchell, is now our county supervisor, which is fantastic. But she was the only Black woman in the California Senate. So that seat has now got to be replaced and refilled. And we have Sydney Kamlager, who is the Assemblywoman, who is running to fill that seat. But I do believe she has some challengers. I heard Hugh Hefner's son is getting in that. That should be interesting.
Wow. All right.
Greg, what I was talking about earlier, the if Sydney goes, these women are so organized, and Dallas is not going to say the name, but they already got a woman who would run. If Sydney runs for that position, they're already grooming someone. That person's already groomed. So I live in Karen Bass's district. I'm sure I'm hearing. Well, we're not talking it, but there's somebody who will run for her seat. That's the philosophy here, that we have to maintain Black women in all these seats. Don't penalize Black women because one has been elevated to Vice President of the United States when they have worked so hard to get in these seats.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's an interesting point too, and I did want to touch on the demographic changes in our traditionally, Black districts, even down to the local level. Here in Long Beach was very interesting. I'm relatively new to Long Beach. I moved out here right around the time I left the fabulous KJLH radio, and I'm just watching and everything. And I know that District 6 has been a long time Black district. Black representation and everything. And now, the Cambodian community has grown and prospered in that area. And now, for the first time, they elected a Cambodian American as the city council person. That's a great example of demographics changing and Black political power shifting accordingly. And I think you see that all around, I'm supposing all around the state, but certainly all around Southern California. I mean, if we look at District 9 in the city of Los Angeles, boy, hey, we hold on by our chinny chin chin over there because it's right. So what is does our demographic shifts affect this cause to maintain Black power in these traditional seats that have been held by Black people for generations?
Well, I'm going to say this. As we saw an uprising of people from all ethnicities, from all around, different communities and across the nation stand up for Black lives. Mm-hmm. They're saying how important our lives are and how we should be supported and not discriminated against and marginalized. But that also should be included in representation. Mm-hmm. And we have to, as the pastor said, we should be grooming the next set of leaders, and especially the millennials and Gen Z. We should also be thinking about preparing the next set of future leaders. I just think that right now, even if the demographics have changed, there's so much value in Blackness. I mean, we set the trends on so many things, from culture to music to how people dress, how they behave, how music is done, to how we lead. And so I think while we may be changing in numbers, strategically, if we work together across the state and in the different communities, I can see all of us still maintaining some seats. We just have to be better about preparing people for them.
All right, y'all. This is really fascinating. We could continue this. Wait a minute. Wait, Dallas. Sorry.
You're muted.
Yep, you're muted.
I also
there you
think
go.
what's happening is a blend, right, of our backgrounds. People are becoming. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, my camera's a little delayed, so I don't think Shay is talking. Right? I don't want to talk over her.
No, you're not. Your turn.
People are becoming more knowledgeable of their backgrounds, and people are becoming more knowledgeable of their ancestry. And the more knowledge you have, the more people willing to accept that they are a blend of multiple cultures. And so,
man, I don't know. Well,
to that point that Dallas is making, I'm Black and Puerto Rican, and I was raised Black. I'm very Black centered, and a lot of communities that there's so many multiracial people that identify as Black, which brings in different communities. At least for me as an elected official, where I live, I think we're like 2%, but I still was elected, and in my recent elected, I was #1 vote getter. So it's because of my leadership and the leadership of this Black woman, which was able to get other communities and ethnicities and people from many different demographics to still support me in this role. That I just want to think that even though we have so many, multicultural, people still think about the leadership and the history that Dallas mentioned. People are learning about the history of the movement of Black people now and saying, wow, I didn't know that was the basis for my rights. Oh, I didn't know that was the basis for, the basis for that movement. And so it is really changing the mind to see more value in Black leadership.
I'd like to say that while there are Blacks moving out of California, we have to, unfortunately, we're losing a lot to COVID-19 as well. So it's going to change a lot in the next maybe 6 months, the numbers of people. Really, it's about us creating slates ahead of time, being proactive, having everybody follow the hashtag keep the seat so you know how you can engage. But, I live in a city that's less than 2% Black, and that's Glendale. And I became the second commissioner on the Commission on Status of Women. There's never been a person of color, especially Black, as a mayor. They've had 70 mayors. So we need to change city by city in the state of California. And hopefully that will encourage our allies and those that support Black Lives Matter to see that there's definitely an imbalance. There's not equality in any shape or form. We found out health disparities have really hit our community hard with deaths aside from this coronavirus. So we need to keep at it. We need to keep people engaged. We need to talk about it on shows like this, Greg. So thank you so much. And Pastor, I love what you said about we need to have a Zoom call with our other organizations so we can have a plan of action that we're all marching in the same direction. We are, but together, the more, the better, the stronger in numbers.
All right, that's awesome, Marie. And anytime you call, I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's get it. So look, we got to get out of here on Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Any final thoughts, Marie?
Well, I'm going to say that, like Shay said, we're going to be at the governor's office here in Los Angeles and also in Northern California at 11 a.m. And we welcome anybody to come out, bring their folding chairs, because we're going to keep that seat.
All right, we're going to keep that seat. All right, Dallas, got any final words? Let's see. Let me see. Dallas, y'all there? Okay. There you are. Yes, Dallas.
I just want to say it's always good to see everyone. With this COVID, we don't get to see each other as often as we normally would at an event or something for the community. And so it's always a pleasure to be on here and speak with you all. But I just want to say, in parting, no matter how you feel about this issue, no matter how you feel about this, think about the policies Think about the policies of a Kamala Harris and the policies and the track record of a Barbara Lee, a Karen Bass, a Holly Mitchell, the Maxine Waters. Think of all of the African American women who have led in this state and who are leading in this legislature, and think of how we feel the impact of not having anyone that looks like us in the United States Senate in 2020. In 2020, I think if people really think long and hard about that, they will help to us in this fight and join us at hashtag Keep the Seat.
All right. Wait a minute. Congresswoman Waters had I got receipts. That was brilliant campaigning.
Hashtag I got the receipts.
What? Phenomenal. Yeah, she's going to come on one day. So we're trying to get her schedule. I know she's over there busy up there in Washington, D.C., but she's going to come on Coffee Conversations. She was actually, when we started this, one of my very first guests. She came in and blessed me with her presence. But man, I got the receipts. That was a home run.
Epic.
All right. Pastor Smart, any last words?
We got, I don't know when he's going to make the appointment. We just have to bring in the fire. I'm glad you're going to be at his headquarters today. We have to bring the fire. That's what it's about. Everyone sign up, a petition, call his office. All of us are going to be getting together and to organize. We got to move forward. We need this seat. Keep it in the hands of a Black woman.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's what's up. Shay by the Bay, what you got to say? Look at that.
I just want to say that I would be remiss not to mention some of the powerhouse women that are part of this coalition, including Marie in Dallas, Kimberly Ellis out of the executive director for the Commission on the Status of Women in San Francisco, Norbise, Molly, Kelly. There's so many of us. Kalika from California Now, Kendra from the Black Caucus, like myself, and Taisha Brown. I mean, it was a lot of us organizing this effort and trying to put it all together. Mm-hmm. It is not just for this moment, but for many of the moments that we are going to face in the future. And I'm just really appreciative of the collaboration and the strong sisterhood that we're building together to keep our seat.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. You all go to beachcityradio.com. I think the post on the front page says, here's the letter. And when you read it, and that was written by Marie Lemelle there, when you read it, and then there is a list of women on there at the bottom so you can see who is involved. There's a lot of sisters. And I mean a lot. When I saw it, I was like, dang, this is an army. And sisters on the move. Good stuff. Good stuff. Marie, thank you so much for pulling this together here. And thank you for inspiring us to keep, our fingers on the pulse of our elected officials. This is very, very important. It's essential. We need to hold them accountable. And, what I'm learning out of this platform of the Coffee Conversations with Greg J, from time to time, we've had Jan Perry has been a regular person on here, and through the election season was actually kind of a guiding hand on helping us contemplate what was happening there. And like she says, follow the money. She continues to say that. And I learned out in this very discussion here, again, we're following the money. We're making sure that we put our eyes on what our elected officials are doing and keeping the pressure up. You know what I mean? It's just like it is about the people. It's for the people, by the people. So never, ever forget that, folks. Keep your eye on this and other situations. Don't just cast your vote and now we got them in, cool, and we go about our day. Be aware, participate, and elevate our communities all across the state, all across our cities, and indeed all across the world. Look, really happy for our next coffee conversation, our time together. I'm really excited about this as I got former police chief, former city councilman, my friend Bernard Parks is coming through, coming out of retirement to talk to his folks. Me and him have done so many things in the city of Los Angeles together when he was in the mix, and he's coming through Tuesday. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. You can get that at Columbusong Coffee, columbusongcoffeecompany.com. You can get that. Beach City Radio, beachcityradio.com. Got some great music on there for you, but it's also a news portal for us. And not only are we talking local issues, but we are global. So you're going to see some stuff from Africa. You're going to see stuff from East Coast to West Coast, north to south of these here United States. If it's the Black community, we are all about it. We're not excluding everybody. We're just coming from our own perspective. And this is just I'm going to make this brief announcement, and you're going to be hearing a lot more about this. We are producing a live stream, the virtual Martin Luther King Festival for the city of Inglewood. We're doing that, and more on that as we keep coming in here. We got some great artists that we're going to announce that are going to be performing virtually for the people while we push and promote the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And then here in Long Beach, we're partnering up with the Leadership Long Beach to also do a virtual festival celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. All right. I think we've done everything there. God bless you all. Remember, love one another. Love one another. Love one another.
Keep
Peace
the
and
seat.
blessings. Yes, keep the seat. Hashtag keep the seat. That's right.
We got the receipts.
Yeah, we got the receipts. Yes, yes, yes. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings.